Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Eric with American Business Systems. Want to welcome you here to the webinar this afternoon. And today I'll have a guest host with me. It'll be Adam Phillips, our CEO, and he's going to join us here in just a little bit. But we're going to let a few folks pop on in here into the webinar as we sort of get started, and I'll share a little bit about what we're going to talk about, and then get everything kicked off, give some of you folks that have never been on our webinars a little bit of introduction of who we are here at American Business Systems. And but today we're going to talk about what's the fastest way to launch a business in healthcare. And we're going to kind of go through 4 different steps this afternoon, kind of what you need. And really, you can apply these 4 steps of what Adam and I are going to talk about this afternoon, really to any business that you might be thinking of, but very specifically, what's going to happen here with American Business Systems and getting involved in healthcare. First of all, everybody's got to know that getting into healthcare is a very sustainable type of business because folks, us older folks aren't going anywhere, and we need the healthcare as we get a little bit older, as we kind of get in age. But this is a very sustainable business, and there are a lot of doctors out there that are needing help. And Adam and I are going to just kind of walk you through that. Looks like we got a great start to folks here. Looks like we've got Jim and Mel, Linda, Raymond, Rick. I see Tandra. So it's good to see these folks. I had one person that was on there and then they popped back off. Maybe they'll come right back on in here in just a second. Sometimes it knocks us all off here, and we get people on here. Folks, again, to communicate back and forth with us, there's that little Q&A box there down at the bottom of, or maybe it's even at the top of your screen there. And matter of fact, Adam and I were talking, we're going to try to figure out a way to take a screenshot. There's a little place somewhere in these in Zoom where you can have those little floating emojis. So if we're doing okay anytime halfway through the webinar, send those up over there to kind of help encourage us, and at least know that you're paying attention there. That'd be the best. Again, my name is Eric Auger. I'll be walking you through this afternoon on what's the fastest way to launch a business in healthcare. And for those that kind of know the program, what we try to do is get started off here in the very beginning, and that is to kind of tell you a little bit about American Business Systems. Where did it originate? How did it get started? Who are the players here? And so that's what I'm going to try to deal with you right off the bat here as we kind of get some things kicked off. But everything starts here with American Business Systems that started, folks, 29 years ago. And if you're looking for a business opportunity that has the stability, obviously ABS has that. And one of the things that truly makes it stable is the billing platform. Now, last week, if you recall, if you didn't get to watch last week's webinar, I kind of dove into that a little bit about the importance of having a web-based, very solid system. We're going to talk a little bit more about that today, not too much, but one of the things I want to encourage you to do is get back with the person that invited you to the webinar, because what they'll be able to do is set up a time to kind of give you a demonstration of this platform that is powered by NextGen. Now, NextGen's not just your mom and pop company. They've been around for a very long time. Not only do they power our system, but they do many big legacy systems like for hospital systems as well. So they've been around for quite some time. And then we've got other business partners or technology partners that help us with some of the other services that you get with here at American Business Systems. Now, let me share with you a little bit about this little couple here, Patrick and Linda Phillips. They have been the mom and pop of our business for obviously a very long time. Matter of fact, it was Linda who actually started in medical billing. She was asked by someone to say, "Hey, Linda, have you ever done any medical billing?" She goes, "Nope, have never done that." And he says, no big deal. Come on over. Let me show you how to do this. And that was the days upon when you had to create things on what was called a typewriter. If you remember those things, you had to put duplicate sheets in there and create all of that. But she learned how to do it. And then Patrick watched her as she was doing this. He goes, "Gosh, this seems like a decent business opportunity." And then he kind of took it from there and created that. And now, with Patrick being one of the founders, I have to say Linda was the real founder, but now Adam grew up in this environment for a very long time, and now he is our CEO of American Business Systems. And Adam took over CEO position about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And not only has he taken over and kind of doing all the leadership, getting in new services, he himself has been an author. He has been highlighted in a billing coding magazine called the Billing and Coding magazine that comes out every, I think it's every other month. But he had some articles that showed up last year and the year before. And then he co-authored a book that we're going to talk about a little bit this afternoon with Dr. Vicki Ragner. And without any further ado, let me bring Adam on. Adam, it's good to have you today as a partner with me today this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks, Eric, for having me. Glad to be here. I'm excited to chat with all these folks about our opportunity today.
You bet. Now, folks, remember the Q&A box. So I'm going to be monitoring this. Adam's going to be monitoring as well. This webinar is for you. We want you to ask questions. Hopefully, we'll answer most of your questions. And then towards the end, we're going to kind of give you a few steps of what things you can do next. But Adam, whenever you and I were talking about, gosh, what do we want to talk about on today's webinar? You came up with the title, What's the Fastest Way to Launch a Business in Healthcare? Let's dive into that, see what it's going to look like. But why don't you kind of take the helm here, and let's what are you finding that some of our business owners at ABS has done to get their business launched pretty quickly?
Yeah, sure. So the idea here with this title is, there's a lot of different ways to get into the healthcare industry. There's a lot of different jobs that you can get, in various levels of education that are required for that. And there's a lot of people that are wanting to get into healthcare because they understand that healthcare, the spending in healthcare, the money that's being thrown around in healthcare is not going anywhere. It just continues to grow year after year after year. It continues to grow as far as the overall, market and the money that's in it. So there are people that they think to themselves, well, I want to get into, billing and coding. Well, what do I do? Well, I've got to go through a long, laborious schooling process. I've got to join some kind of school, whether it be online or in person. And at a minimum, people are going through a year or two of school, especially if they want to get certified in coding, for example. Right. That takes a long time to get certified in that. And so you're spending a lot of time, a long, long time, getting certifications and getting education, and, all of that is helpful. But we actually have a way that you could accelerate your learning and accelerate you being in this industry, and basically getting you to where you're generating revenue very, very, very quickly versus having to go through school or some of that other stuff. So that's what this is all about.
Yeah. And so what we're going to do is take most of all of the services that you see here that, again, last week, if you didn't miss last week, we went through almost every single service that we have here, how it's going to help you grow your business, get your foot in the door many times, and then obviously land that billing client here. So what we did, Adam and I kind of broke this thing down into 4 sections, tips for fast tracking basically your business in healthcare. First of all, you've got to learn your solution. I think, Adam, probably that's the biggest thing. And you mentioned that earlier. A lot of people think, well, if I'm going to learn this, I got to go to a college, or I'm going to go to a trade school, or I'm going to learn something online. We're going to help you shortcut that, again, with our longevity that's been around. Show your expertise, have a competitive edge, and then deliver service that's second to none. So I think they're in for a good treat here this afternoon. Let's dive right on to, I think, the biggest thing that ABS does, probably the best out of everything that I think we do here, is our training.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have a very specific set of training steps and methods that we teach you. And, I mentioned at the beginning that we accelerate your learning. And so there's a lot of people that they have a hard time kind of understanding how we are different when they're researching, for example, if they're specifically researching getting into medical billing, coding, things like that. Everything out there says that you have to be, you have to have all of these certifications, you have to be certified in coding, you have to spend a lot of time in school. And if someone is going to be doing all of that work themselves, that's true. But what we have available to you when you become a licensee of our company is we have a lot of experts. We have an entire team of experts behind you that are able to do some of the work so that you don't have to spend 2 years, going through coding school, for example. So those are just some of the little sneak peeks that we've got as far as like how you can go through our training, which we're going to talk about, how long it is and all that. But it's a very relatively short when you compare it to other, coding certifications and things like that. But it allows you to just get to the money that much quicker. It allows you to start generating revenue, getting clients, all that good stuff that people want to start doing rather quickly. So, yeah.
And I think one of the great things that we've done, obviously it's evolved and it's gotten better every time that we end up doing training. And, we're always seeing new things come up with our trainers that say, hey, let's teach this. And we've updated this, but it really kind of starts off with the basics, understanding, what is the practice flow, workflow, and then basically an introduction to medical billing. And we've got all of these topics here that you can have to review. And what you're able to do here, kind of to see what you're going to learn. And so there's not one thing that you're going to miss out of learning to help you get to that next step. You're going to learn how, if a doctor says, hey, Adam, can you do my coding for me? We've got that taken care of.
Yeah, the point is you don't have to know everything about everything. All you have to do is learn some key points and how to do what we say, speak conversationally about a lot of the hot topics and issues that are of concern with doctors now, so that you can just start generating conversations with people. And then in turn, that immediately starts to build your credibility with the doctors, because they say, oh, this person is talking about, rejection rates and denial rates. And, this person, is asking me about revenue cycle and, all kinds of different little buzzwords that you can throw out that helps them to understand that you're a lot more than just a medical billing company. You're actually going to be a full, what we call a revenue cycle management consulting firm, which is kind of a mouthful, but so that's all you have to do is kind of learn the keywords. And then, we have a private support website that you can continue learning and educating yourself, because really healthcare it can be complicated. There can be a lot to it. And that's why we have a private support website that we'll talk about here in a moment, where you can basically continue your learning and continue your education as you're out there building your business and getting clients at the same time and making money.
And Adam, I think you're moderator to the Facebook page. Talk about how other ABS business owners actually can be part of their learning solutions.
Yeah, so we have a whole network of ABS business owners, and this is not clip art here. These are all ABS business owners that have helped us in some capacity, some way or another. And they're all experts in different, for example, experts in different types of specialty billing, and very specific coding questions. And there's some that are just really good general business coaches that can help guide you and handhold you through, marketing questions or anything like that. But yeah, like you mentioned, we actually have, not only this network that we can just put you in touch with these people, but we do have a private Facebook group as well, where all of these people reside on that group. And they're all basically at a point now where they have a lot of people helping them, employees and staff, their billing companies are basically almost running themselves at this point. And so these people that you see here have decided to pay it forward and help other people get off the ground, just like they had people helping them get off the ground when they started. Don't go searching for that Facebook group, though. It's hidden. It's for licensees only. So whenever you become a licensee, we give you access to that site so that you can communicate with these folks from all over the country about anything.
You bet. Yeah. And then what you're going to learn in that first part of that training, again, is how to use the iClaim system. Now, when you get through with that first couple of times in that training course, it's not going to make you a master in it just yet. You're going to become a master. But what the beautiful thing here at American Business Systems of what we do for you goes beyond just the support line that you can call the 800 number or talk with these other folks. we are going to be the ones that you'll see here in just a little bit that we actually do the demonstrations for you, for your doctors. Now, Adam, that is, I can't think of any other business opportunities, especially in healthcare, that will go that extra mile for the brand new and people that have been around here for a long time, that we still do their demonstrations for their doctors to help them win that first, or second, third, or fifth doctor.
Yes, exactly right. So that's another big thing that accelerates your business, accelerates your success, because you could go through a billing and coding school. You could pick your own software. You could come up with your own marketing materials. But you're going to get home and you're going to go, okay, I know how to do billing, but I have no clue how to market to doctors. What do I do? And part of a part of that marketing process is demonstrating the platforms that we have, and that's exactly what we do. We have a whole team of demo experts, and that's all that they do all day long, is they do demos on your behalf for your prospective clients, and they're showing them the whole entire system. And that's just one of several different steps that we take you through to get the doctor signed up.
You mentioned marketing material, and I wanted to put this up here. And again, last week we almost went through every single one of these. But why don't you talk a little bit about the science, the methodology of what it took to get these flyers the way that they are, and how important and how these work for helping them, like you said, to accelerate to get that first client.
Yes. So another vital piece in running an effective, medical billing business is to have marketing materials that look like they were actually created by someone who knows what the heck they're doing.
Sure.
There are a lot of people, like I said, there's a lot of people that have tried to start their own medical billing business. And one of the things they do is they just type up some kind of flyer on their computer at home. Like, I don't even know what you use anymore. Publisher, Microsoft, I don't know. But no matter what you do, no matter how much time you spend on it, it's not going to look as good as what we have put together. We have spent thousands of dollars creating these very nice looking, very professional, very, even the paper that you use is very important. So we have a very specific high grade gloss paper that these materials are printed on. And it also comes with your business package comes with a nice presentation folder that you can put some of these materials in whenever you give them a proposal. So we really have spent a lot of time. Now, you're not going to always put 12 or 13 or however many flyers is here. You're not going to shove all these flyers into one presentation folder and just kind of do a shotgun approach. That's not how this works. I know it kind of can be overwhelming looking at all these different services that you can offer, but that's one thing that our team does, is we help you analyze a doctor's practice first and figure out what their needs really are, that practice in particular. And so our team is going to make recommendations. Hey, we recommend that you should offer these 2 or 3 services. They looks like they need those services the most. And we're going to make recommendations on how you should price yourself as well when you put your proposal together. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the other things that everybody's going to learn here in the beginning, again, to kind of accelerate your market, is who is going to be your target market. Our support team here will kind of help see where you live, what's going on, and really start to dive into, do you know any doctors already? And I think, Adam, that's the coaching part of what we do here on this backside, other than just the training, but to kind of coach people are going, hey, here's some people doctors that you may want to start target, because maybe the area that you live, or the amount of certain types of specialty doctors that might be in your specific area. But then look even outside of that. You don't always have to find doctors within your area. It could be, a certain geographical area that you may be working as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So with this opportunity, it's similar to a franchise in all of the training and support that we provide, but it's not a traditional franchise with territorial restrictions. So you can actually market these services to any medical providers anywhere in the country. Well, that's great. That's obviously, you've got a very big market, and you can even market to non-physicians, like any company that's filing a medical claim form is a potential client. Like, we have durable medical equipment clients, we have pharmacies, labs, all kinds of stuff. And so, then you might be thinking, well, how in the heck where do I target my efforts? Where do I even start? And that's one thing that we do teach you in the training is we're going to talk to you about how to do a search in your area and find certain specified things, like certain specialties that you might want to go after that work better with the EHR program that we have, the medical record system that we have, for example. How many doctors are in that practice? You can do there's
Right.
search tools that we have, and we go into detail on our private support site on how to kind of come up with a good target. We do target the small to medium-sized private practices, if anybody's wondering on this webinar. So 10 doctors in a practice or less is kind of the sweet spot for where we market. That's because the platforms that we have work really, really well with the small to medium-sized private practices, and they often outsource their billing and are looking for new billing solutions. And so that's where we go. Now, we can sign up bigger clients than that, but that's kind of where we start. So.
And again, folks, we've got, it's been asked of us for so long, what about dental billing? So we've got a special service for dental billing for people that want to do dental billing. And then a lot of people say, well, can I do hospital billing? The hospital billing and what's called professional billing, which is what for the doctors, are two completely separate things. So as Adam said, we're looking, 2 to 3, maybe up to 10 doctors at a time. With that group of a number of doctors that you're doing billing for is going to give you enough business to support you, your family members, also to work with you. So you're going to have plenty of doctors there within that 5 to 10 doctor group that's going to keep you pretty doggone busy there. And then Adam, one of the last things within this particular section here to kind of get them launched off the launching pad is something special with MIRMA and their certification as a certified medical revenue manager. Let's explain that before we even start answering any of these other questions, and then we'll go to the next topic.
Yeah, so people ask me, don't you need to be certified to do this? And we certify you.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of different certifications you can get. They're kind of all over the place. There's not really one nationally recognized certification that someone needs to get to do this. And so there's a lot of different schools and training programs that have their own certifications. And so we came up with our own as well. So when you finish our program, you become what we call a CMRM, which is a Certified Medical Revenue Manager. And what we have done is I founded an organization called the Medical Revenue Managers Association of America. And there's a website associated with that. You could go to mirma.org right now and you would see it. And that is the organization that issues your certification. The reason why we did that is because there are some licensees that after they get their business up and running, they're running under their own company name. They don't necessarily want doctors to know that they went through the ABS training program because we don't market the ABS brand to doctors at all. So they don't really want them to see that. But if they do want the doctors to know that they got some kind of official certification, they can point them back to the mirma.org website. So that's why we did that. So that's what you get.
Yeah, because business owners were asking, hey, can I use the ABS logo? We could, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want the doctors to come back over to see that you're maybe just getting started here. We're going
to want to use your own logo and the MIRMA logo. You could use the MIRMA logo. That you bet. See down there. And that, I believe we are adding that MIRMA logo to the website templates when someone picks their website now. That's
awesome. Very good. Adam, you want to answer some of these questions here real quickly, and then we'll get to the next topic?
Yeah, happy to. Shirley is asking, how can I get the video from last week? Shirley, we do email blast those out. If you're on our email list, you should have gotten an email with a recorded link. Those go out every Saturday. If not, we actually post those up on our website, on our blog. So just go to absystems.com/blog, BLOG, and you'll see the webinars. All the past webinars are posted up there. Jim is asking, do you provide a vocabulary list for those buzzwords? Yeah, as a matter of fact, in our training, initial training, we give you some information on the good buzzwords to start using. And then we also have additional training on our private support website webinars and all kinds of stuff we've done on that specific topic. So good question. And then Rochelle is asking, can you support a startup offshore medical billing company? Offshore. Yes. So, our system is cloud-based. So any computer with internet anywhere in the world can access and use the system. So in fact, as long as you're doing business with US-based doctors, if you happen to have someone who was living offshore and wanted to do the work for you, you could absolutely do that. There's no problem at all. So yeah, there you go.
There you go. All right. Tip number 2 is to show your expertise. So a strong marketing presence is going to help you reflect your speed to the market. And so when we're trying to think about when you get through with training, how quickly can you get out of training and go to market? And really, actually, Adam, what I've learned now is that during their training, they're actually getting homework lessons, and they're through however long it takes them, whether it's a week or 2 weeks to get through that training, they're actually learning how to go out there and start marketing directly to doctors during their training.
Yep, that's exactly right. That's what we show them how to do. And we have all of the materials for that, like you see in these pictures here. We've got all kinds of digital and analog and paper, presentation. Hopefully people are not using paper much anymore, but yeah, all the keynote presentation or PowerPoint, I guess I should say, presentations, and all kinds of good stuff, as well as the books, which are very important, which I think you're probably got a slide for that.
I do. Yeah. And I know we've already mentioned this, but again, I just want to mention this again, folks. I don't know if you can really grasp the importance part of this, because imagine that you are sitting in training, you just got through with training, you've already maybe even started doing some marketing, you got a doctor that's ready to talk to you, and you're just learning those vocabularies, all those buzzwords there. Imagine again having the support of American Business Systems and our team here doing a demonstration for you. Adam, it's a stupid question to ask, but how important has this been with people getting started and having us do these demonstrations for them?
How could you ask that?
I know it is a silly question. I'm thinking about, do I even ask that question?
It's been a vital piece.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know, especially when you're first starting out. And even if you've been running this business for a year or two, it's always better to have someone who knows all of the updated bells and whistles, all the features, every little thing. Like there's nothing that a doctor could ask one of our demo people that they would not be able to answer. I mean, they can literally answer everything. That's all they do all day long is demos. They're great at it. And we don't charge you any extra money for that. That's just included as part of your license package with us. And those are instrumental in the process. I mean, I keep saying it's one step in the process because there are several steps that we go through. But yeah, the demo is a very important part for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I bet you we're probably still closing about 50% of those, I would think, about 1 out of every 2 demos that are being done. But there's other steps that happen prior to that we'll share with you a little bit, even on this webinar. But once you've completed all of those different steps, as Adam has said, that's what's going to expedite you from going from, no client to a handful of potential prospects to closing a deal. That's what you're wanting to know, because obviously everybody's, investing and wanting to know how quickly can I get my return on investment. But then also to show your expertise, it's always good to have somebody in your hip pocket that has the experience of being a doctor, and because doctors listen to other doctors. So again, share with those that are on the webinar today, Adam, about the relationship that we have with Dr. Ragner and they have with Dr. Ragner.
Yeah, so showing your expertise is along those same lines, is also building your credibility. And that's exactly what we have put together. We have a lot of different partnerships with various people and companies, a lot of different materials and things that we've come up with that we're going to talk about. But one of the things that we've done is we've partnered up with a retired surgeon. Her name is Dr. Vicki Ragner. She actually has her own company now that is teaching our owners and also financial planners how to market to doctors. Like, she's been there, done that. She was a doctor herself, and she knows what works and what doesn't work. So you
Right.
literally, all you have to do is follow her steps, and you're going to get some responses. You're going to get some, generate some interest with working with her. So another thing that she has done is she has agreed to basically write a referral letter that you can use, where she actually refers you because you are a part of the American Business Systems Network. And she believes in the ABS network so much and our training so much that she has been offered to do those referral letters, so you can give those. And so that's just one small piece of many things that we have that are building your credibility. And that's the important thing in order to get business and get doctors to want to trust you.
And folks, if you'll see what's about to come next, you'll see how well ABS has done their due diligence on how to market to other people. And one of those ways is that you got Dr. Vicki Ragner writing a letter on your behalf. And now what's going to come next are books that are going to come, and it's showcasing Dr. Ragner. And here, this is between Dr. Ragner and Adam Phillips. You guys co-wrote this book, 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. Why wouldn't a doctor just thumb through that book right there?
Yeah, that's exactly what we hope they do. We know that doctors are super busy and they're not going to read an entire book. The books aren't very long, but we know that they're not going to sit there and read every page. And so this is just one book of several books that we have put together for you to use as a marketing tool to build your credibility, because these books specifically address different things that a doctor is doing or maybe not doing that affects their revenue cycle, affects their money. And so this gives them helpful ideas and tips and tricks on how to improve their revenue and their income without them having to commit to doing anything with you whatsoever. So you have just immediately shot up to the top of the list as far as people that a doctor wants to work with, because you've given them this helpful information without anything in return. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I was going to up it one more with this book, which is actually going to showcase the business owner.
Yeah, there you go. So this book is the real big one. So this is the New Thriving Medical Practice book. And it's kind of written along the same lines as that other book. They're all written to help doctors improve their revenue, improve their income, improve their practice without any expectation of anything in return. And so what we have done with this book is we actually will customize the book with the name of the licensee, your name, as the author of the foreword of this book. So we have a foreword that's already written. You can check it out. If you don't like it, you can change it to something else, but there's a foreword that's already written, and we put you as the author of this book. I mean, the author of the foreword of the book. And what it's done is it has actually caused some doctors to think that the licensees have written this book. And we've heard from several licensees that have gotten clients from this book, and they've said, you know what, I read your book and I really liked it. And they have to say, well, that book was actually written by Patrick Phillips and Vicki Ragner, but thank you. So we've gotten tons of great feedback from this book. And I mean, what better way for doctors to understand that you're legit, to see your name printed on the front of this book. And these are not ebooks,
right?
Giving you a physically printed book with your name on the front of it. I mean, that's huge.
And Adam, I think the testament to this particular book was what happened during the pandemic, when people just couldn't go see doctors. I mean, if you were a patient, you couldn't go see a doctor.
Yeah.
But how many of our business owners here at ABS actually gained more doctors during the pandemic and utilized just getting the books out to those doctors? Number one, it was a brilliant idea because the doctors actually had a little bit of time to sit down and read. But that was incredible that we saw the amount of people here at ABS, the business owners here at ABS, actually gain more doctors simply by getting this book out. And if I remember correctly, there was one that he sent out 3 books and got 3 doctors out of it. So that's pretty good return on that.
That's exactly right. We have 2 interviews on our YouTube channel. One interview is with a licensee in California. Her name's Jennifer Boyd.
Yeah.
She is the one that got 3 clients with 3 books.
Yep.
There's another interview with a lady called Meg. Her name is Meg Johnson. And she is the one that talks about her business exploding through COVID. Like they got more clients and made more money through COVID. So go check those out. If you guys need us to send you links to those, just get back with your ABS rep and we can send you some links to those interviews. Those are on our YouTube channel.
There you go. Hey, let's grab these three questions here before we move to the third tip here.
Okay, Shirley says, how long does a training class last? It's done online with a live instructor. It's 10 90-minute modules. So the training is 15 hours total. That can take you maybe 3 weeks or so to get through all those modules, and then you get your certificate. Jim is asking, has anyone used Google video ads to find clients? I mean, I know there's Google AdWords, and then you can have videos that are kind of attached to those AdWords. That hasn't really been something that our owners have focused on. You know, they're primarily focused on getting business through strategic marketing, strategic networking, partnerships with people. So there's a lot of fairly easy, quick ways to meet up with people who know doctors, and they can be good referral partners. That's where we focus. And we actually have done some other webinars that specifically talk about each marketing method that we teach and how it works. And so that might be a good one for you to check out, Jim. Jim's also asking, do you have a templated follow-up campaign I can use on LinkedIn? Well, that's interesting that you should ask that, Jim, because we just recently did a licensee webinar. I don't know if we've mentioned this, but we also do webinars on Fridays for our ABS business owners only. And we just recently introduced a partnership with a lady, Carla Lee Martinez, who is offering LinkedIn sales funnels. So she will actually help you optimize your LinkedIn page. She can help you build sales funnels and help you generate leads off of LinkedIn, and all that kind of stuff that you're asking about there. So yeah, we can get really in depth on the LinkedIn page as well. So,
awesome. Yeah. Always growing, always growing. The third thing you need to have is a competitive edge. And what that means, folks, is that you have to have something that's so unique out there that's going to keep you and have you stand so different from anybody else. And I'm going to illustrate that a little bit with what people know as a typical billing kind of scenario here. And with a lot of other softwares, and even I believe still with one of our competitors out there, still is utilizing software that you actually have to load on a computer. Now, Adam, you know, I know we're a lot of big Apple users. I don't have a CD player or DVD player on any of my equipment. I wouldn't even know how to load that on there. But then you have to connect to a third-party clearinghouse. And then once you've got that, then you got to make sure that those claims go out to the proper insurance companies, as you can kind of see here, sort of illustrated. Mm-hmm. What I mean by us having a competitive edge, or you having a competitive edge, is that number one, it is a cloud-based system, so there's nothing you have to load on your computer. Plus, it is one of the only ones that I know out there, and Adam, unless you can correct me on this, it is the only platform out there that has its own clearinghouse. You want to talk real quickly about the importance of having your own clearinghouse involved with the billing?
Yeah, without getting too technical, basically a clearinghouse allows you to transmit data back and forth, and it being our own clearinghouse, we can go to every single insurance company, every single insurance payer, and we can say, hey, how much data are you willing to share with us? And we're going to let you have that. And we're going to format our clearinghouse request so that we can get all of that data from you. And our system does something really cool that no other system does. We can actually pull all of the patient demographics, the name, the address, the date of birth, that's called demographics. We can pull all of that from the database of the insurance company, and we can create a brand new clean patient record in our system, which means whenever we finally go to send the claim in to the insurance company, there's no way that they can deny it based on something being wrong with the demographics, because it's what they had on file. So a little bit technical there, sorry. If you guys want much more technical, we can give you a system demo as well. Get back to your ABS rep. We'd be happy to set up a system demo, but that's how that works.
But folks, if you just heard what Adam said, that is such a unique position when you're out there in the market. You want to have something so different that people go, what did you just say?
Yeah.
because that's where the doctors are going, I've never heard that. And
Yes.
when we do the demonstrations for your doctors, they get it because they're not on any learning curve. And what they see is this. What they see is that, gosh, this is a group of folks like you can get their rejections under 2%, means that the claims that they get out, and the better way to think of it, if you want to think of it this way, you're getting 98% of the claims that the doctor is doing paid. Okay, so that's just at the doctor's mind, that's cash, and then getting them paid in less time, 7 to 10 days, and sometimes many ways shorter. So with that combined, understanding that you have a complete competitive edge out there in the marketplace, you're going to truly have doctors go, okay, we really need to sit down and talk.
Yeah, exactly. And can you go back to that previous slide real quick with the
Absolutely. Yep, you bet.
Yeah, so these 4 squares that you see here, these are different platforms that different people interact with. The iClaim system is the front office staff can interact with that because there's things that they can do like scheduling and insurance verifications, and that is the system that you will be using to do the billing work as well. The EMRX system is where the doctors are doing their medical charting with the patients. There's a patient portal that the patients log in and interact with. And there are some doctors that are using multiple systems that do not even talk to each other. So these 4 things that you see here for us were all built by the same development team under one roof. So everything is very tightly integrated. If you change one little thing on iClaim, it shows up in EMRX and vice versa. So that's important because there are some doctors that they literally have hired a staff person to open up their medical record system, read the doctor's charting information, and manually type it into their billing system, whatever they have. So they're just doing a lot of unnecessary double data entry, and there's all kinds of room for errors and typos and stuff with them doing that. So there's a lot of inefficiencies out there.
And one other thing, kind of going back on what was such a vivid in our minds here is the pandemic. And prior to that, a lot of doctors were trying to figure out how to do telemedicine. Everybody understands telemedicine now. This is the platform that we have. We were already doing telemed with doctors, and so we didn't. None of our billing companies had to skip a beat on this. This is so important that's the advancement of the technology that we have here for ABS business owners.
Yeah, we had telemedicine built into the platform for several years.
Yeah,
it wasn't used near as much as it's used during COVID, but now they're using it like crazy. But it was just built right in, and it was already there, and there was no additional software to download or install or anything. So it was super cool.
It was, and the doctors didn't skip a beat. I mean, you had a lot of doctors scrambling during that time trying to figure out what to do.
Yep.
All right, Adam, we're about to go to point number 4, our last one here. Let's grab these last 3 questions here, and we'll move on.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Jim is asking, has any of those insurance carriers balked on sharing patient data this way? I think he's talking about the clearinghouse example that I just mentioned.
Yep.
Yes. Some insurance payers do not play ball. And so there are different levels of data that they'll share and not share. So it just depends on the insurance payer. So yeah, so that's a good question. There are some that play ball and some that don't, but any one of them, that's why we go to every one of them and we say, how much data are you willing to share with us? Because then we're going to format our request to get all of that data from you. So that was a good question.
Yeah.
Rick is asking, in another webinar, you mentioned a medical biller or manager who lost her laptop on vacation that had sensitive medical and patient information on it. I believe you said it caused HIPAA violations and fines. Can you provide more info on that? Because it really defines how cloud-based is far better than software-based billing. Do you want to touch on that? Or
yeah, I remember talking about it because one of the services we have here is a compliancy called Compliancy Guard, and it helps the doctors with HIPAA and make sure that they're valid and we're valid and everything else is valid here. But truly, whenever you are trying to, with that illustration I was showing you earlier, whether it's on a kind of a tabletop or some type of desktop or a laptop, and you're trying to do things from your laptop, but you're residing all of your software on your computer, Then on top of that, then you've got all the patient demographics on that computer with those diagnoses. That's the problem. Because if you do lose that, then now you're in a world of hurt, because now you've just lost all that patient's data, all of their diagnoses that's wrong with them. If that gets out, you might as well just close up shop at that point. So with our system, everything it resides in the cloud. So there's and that is in 2 separate areas of the country where it's redundant. There's all the redundancy. There's security backups for that. So that's one less thing you have to worry about. And Adam, I know that there's still doctors today that still have all of their servers still in their office. So this is still where doctors need to get that out of their office as well, due to fire or floods, or something might happen, they get broken into, or they lose their power, they can't get to it. At least through our system, they can get to it through an internet service.
Yeah, there's been over the past several years, there's been a lot more trust put into the cloud servers, the cloud systems.
Yeah.
And I think, in the olden days, the doctors were terrified of letting go of their data, and they wanted to make sure their data was in their office. Maybe a lot of it had to do with HIPAA or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, nowadays, with the fact that our systems are on redundant servers on East Coast, West Coast, on different power grids, literally in bomb-proof buildings with biometric access. I mean, there's no way that you could be more secure than the way that we treat the security of the data that we have. So you absolutely can trust the servers that we've got and the way that we do it. And you don't have to worry about backups or updates or any of that stuff. We're doing all that stuff for you behind the scenes.
You bet. Hope that answered your question. Jim's asking, is there a way to help doctor's office to input long-term clients into the system? Yep. I mean, that's all what we do, and kind of help them with all of that and kind of getting that transition over. Absolutely. All right. And then you want to grab that one for Chris, and then we'll move on, and we'll save that last one there for Shirley towards the end.
Yeah, Chris is asking, is there anyone in the network that does credentialing in Ohio? Well, we have a couple of different credentialing partners that do that work. And I do not believe they're restricted by state in any way. I don't know if they are particularly located in Ohio. I don't remember, but they should be able to credential any doctors in Ohio. So yes. Yeah.
All right. Last tip of the day is deliver service that is second to none. And that's what you want to obviously have that competitive edge that will help you stand strong against all others. And I can't think of a better standing than you have here with American Business Systems. First of all, being around for 29 years. And Adam, I mean, congratulations to you and your dad, and your mom, and everything else that you guys have been able to do. Just as a saying for, going, you've already completed 29 years. You're actually in your 30th year right now.
Amazing. It's amazing. Time sure has flown. That's for sure.
You bet. And so that helps you with all the support mechanisms that ABS has, the marketing support, the billing support, the ABS network support. And we're just going to touch basically on what you're going to do once you've got a doctor that says, you know what, I want to talk with you. You've gone through everything you need to go through with your training. You got doctors that are saying, yes, let me see your software process. And one of the marketing supports that you're going to get and learn, again, through your training and practice all the time, is what's called a practice analysis. Adam, you kind of shared this a little bit earlier, but kind of take us through what this whole practice analysis does, and then what it's going to result into the next slide.
Oh yeah, I'm having a lot of trouble reading that. I don't know if anybody else can read it. It's very blurry.
It's so small. It's hard to be able to see. I don't know if I can blow it up here real quickly, but it is.
I know what it says.
Yep.
Basically, this is a series of questions that we give that you can print out, that you can do when you do the initial analysis, the initial consultation with usually it's done with the office manager. It takes maybe 20 minutes or so, and you can ask them a series of questions about how they're doing things currently. Are you happy with your systems, your software that you've got? Are you looking for a change? Do you have a good EHR system? What do you have in place for coding? Have you ever done someone to help you check on your HIPAA compliancy and make sure that's all in order? So all the different questions kind of related to all the services that we've got are in there. And it helps you and them kind of paint a picture as to what the current situation looks like in the practice. And so that's step one. So I don't know, what does this next slide show? Yeah. So next slide, this is the practice revenue report. So this is generated based on the information that they give you in that initial analysis. And we can help you put this together, but we give you a tool that helps you crunch these numbers. And essentially you're able to present this to them at the end of the demo that we're doing for you. So we do the demo, and then at the end of the demo, you can say, okay, based on the information that you provided to me in our initial consultation, I've identified some areas that you can improve on, and I absolutely can help your practice, save some money in different areas. And here you go. Here's what we're looking at here. So yeah, you want to go over those numbers, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, just real quickly, folks, if you look at the very bottom there. I mean, if you look, well, let's first look at that big block up there at the top. Mostly should be able to see that, where it says monthly practice revenue, that's 17,500. Then projected, you can see this is running the numbers, which includes your fees, can go up to 27,702, which is again on a monthly revenue increase, an increase of $10,000. And again, that's including your billing fees as you go through that. So folks, that's why it's not so difficult to sell anything to the doctor, because what you're showing the doctor is not really what they're going to be able to gain, but really what they're losing without having somebody like yourself do the billing for them. And again, that coupled with us doing the live demo with them, those things go hand in hand. And really, I always kind of like to put it, it's like doing a 1-2 punch with the doctor, because they just can't believe that they've been losing as much money as they have.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't really have anything to add to that. That's the truth.
Yeah, that is basically the truth. And then the billing support that you're going to have to once you get started, and that's everything. I think Jim was asking, I can't remember who was asking about trying to get everything loaded up for the doctor. There is a whole launching program that goes back behind the scenes of how do I get the doctor's patients, all the patient information from that doctor from their current system over to the iClaim EMRX platform. And we handhold you through that entire process as well. And again, Adam, I think one of the things we kind of started off with there in the very beginning was this whole area about coding. And I always like for us to kind of end with this, because this is where most people kind of get hung up. They feel like, gosh, I think I got the billing part of it down, but I know somewhere along the time the doctor's going to ask me about coding.
Yeah, exactly right. I was chatting with a guy earlier, Mel's on here. Hey, Mel. He kept asking me, what about coding? What about coding?
Yeah.
I was trying to explain. We have the professionals that do that part. This is all goes back to us accelerating your learning and your training so that you can get to the making the money part. So that's why we have a service called CodeWrite. If a doctor needs help with coding, which a lot of them don't, because our system makes it so easy for them to select their own codes. If they're using all of our platforms, they make it very easy for them. But if you have a doctor, who says, hey, I'm a specialist, I've got a lot of different codes I'm trying to manage, can you help me with that? Then that's a service that you can tack on top of the service that you're charging for doing the billing. So you're charging the doctor, let's say 5 or 6 or 7% for doing the billing work. You can charge them a little extra money for coding the claims with our certified coders going in and doing the work. So you can go through our training and you can promote yourself and your company as, hey, we're certified in ICD-10, we're certified in ICD-11 when that comes out. But you yourself haven't gone through the school. It's our coders that went through the school, if that makes sense. The other option is the auditing, like you were just about to mention. Yep. A doctor may not need ongoing coding help, but they may want somebody to come and do an analysis and just say, hey, are we doing everything right? Are we coding the right way for the right procedures? And so we have a separate service for that called Audit Guard, where our team will go in and audit, I think it's like 50 charts or something like that they look at. And they provide a very in-depth analysis and reporting back to the practice that says, here's what you're doing right, here's what you're doing wrong, here's what you need to change. Here's everything that they need to make sure that they're doing their coding and workflows properly. And what that does is that protects them. If Medicare were ever to come in and try to do an audit on the practice, if they've done this audit guard service prior to that, the chances of them being fined are greatly reduced, almost eliminated, if they've done the audit guard service and they follow the steps that were given to them.
That's correct. Matter of fact, Rochelle is asking about the question, do we do coding and billing? And that's exactly correct. So I appreciate her asking that. Then kind of wrapping up, really with the accounts receivables, with, the doctors not needing to send their patients to a collection agency through the service of Quick Collect. And I know that folks, we're going to kind of go through these a little quickly because we're almost at the top of the hour. But then we have Choice Pay. Again, we spent on each of these services, we kind of spent a lot of time on those last Wednesday, and then rounding it out with the compliancy guard. Like we mentioned earlier, that all of these services come with your entire package. You're going to learn every single one of them, with always new services that are always being added. And kind of putting a bow on this, Adam, I know a lot of people always are concerned. I think someone asked, are there other business owners in my area, maybe some here in Texas, maybe in some other areas? Really, other business owners are not necessarily your competitors. You want to kind of share about how all this works together?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the way that we teach the marketing, you're not going around town banging on doors. You're going to networking events and special events, lunch and learn seminars. There's a dozen or so different methods that don't talk about, cold calling or anything like that. And so, the chances of you even running into anybody are slim and none.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, our owners, for the most part, think of themselves as being a part of a network, and there's the occasional outlier, but most people are very into helping other people and connecting and sharing, information and sharing leads and, doing all kinds of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, we have the question we get a lot is, how many licensees do you have? As far as actively marketing licensees, we've got about 450 to 500 all over the United States. And when you consider that there's, 1 million or more doctors out there, we're not anywhere close to being saturated.
Not close.
Anywhere close. And you also have to remember, you can make close to 6 figures or at 6 figures with just a handful of doctors.
Right.
5 or 6 doctors, and you could be at 6 figures. So it may not take as many as you might think to be successful at this.
You bet.
Yeah.
So Adam, we took them through all 4 of these steps. We talked to them about how fast we can get them there to the launch. Why don't you wrap up here about the 30-day money back guarantee and how that kind of just really seals everything together for you?
This is the final safety net. I mean, of course, we want you to do tons of research and due diligence before you make the decision to join us. But even after you make the decision to join us, we give you a 30-day money back guarantee. So we basically give you enough time to complete the entire training that we've got, because that's about how long it takes. And at the end of the training, after you've seen all the good, the bad, and the ugly, if you decide, you know what, I don't think this is right for me, you can ask for your money back, and we'll give you 100% of your money back. That's in writing in the agreement. What usually ends up happening is people are blown away by all the potential with all the different services, and it's so much bigger than what they thought it was, that they're just so excited to get started when training is done. That is in there. That is in there.
So just to kind of wrap up with this afternoon, folks, I know a lot of you may have to jump off here. If you've been on our other webinars, you kind of know what these next steps are. But for some, there are brand new folks that are here on every Wednesday. So Adam, let's talk real quickly. How do they get this research guide?
Yeah, I mean, you can just email the rep that invited you to this webinar, and we can send you a direct link to it, or attach a PDF to an email for you. But yeah, it's about 60 pages. It's got a lot of detailed information on the industry, the business model, all the services, what kind of money you can make on them. It's all in there.
And you mentioned earlier that someone asked where I can find those other videos. You've mentioned the blog part of it, but then our YouTube channel is youtube.com/YABS. If you want to see videos going way back, you can go back over there too, because we've got a ton of them out there.
Hundreds and hundreds of interviews and testimonials, on our YouTube page.
And I think this is one of the greatest steps that I think you give anybody, and that's actually talking with some of these folks that are going to be your coaches. Some of those folks can actually help you with some of the support, and you give out an owners list for people to touch base with other ABS owners.
Yep, absolutely. That's a part of your due diligence process, is to ask for a list of references that you can call and chat with before you make the decision.
And folks, we've already mentioned once to get signed up and get with your ABS coach that you're working with here, your rep here, and set up a demo for yourself. This is like taking a test drive in the car. Let's make sure the brakes are working, lights are working, the radio sounds great. This is what you need to do. You need to have that one-on-one with your ABS coach here to let them take you through a demo. And then finally, get the purchase agreement, Adam.
Yep, that's right. That's the kind of the final step. And, I don't know where everybody is in their process on this webinar. But yeah, if you've already done some of those other steps, you could reach out to your ABS rep and we could send you a link to an e-sign. We have an e-sign version of this. So you could just review it, just check it out, see what you think. It's very simple. It's actually 5 pages now, but we've added a little bit of extra stuff in there that you get, for your money, but it's nothing like a franchise agreement whatsoever. It's very light. We don't control your business at all. You have total freedom to operate wherever and whenever you want, and grow it as big as you want, or keep it small, or whatever you want to do.
And then lastly, get your funding in, get signed up for training. How far out, Adam, if they wanted to get signed up this week, how quickly would they be able to get scheduled for their training?
Next week.
If they get it done that quick.
If they send in their agreement today, Thursday or Friday, we could almost certainly have their first session booked sometime next week. It usually starts within the week. Yeah.
All right. So if you don't know who to deal with here at ABS, give us a call, 866-565-8413. Send us an information or email at info@absystems.com. Let's go through a couple of these last minute questions here. And Adam, I know we're kind of already gone over the hour, but we've kept everybody, it looks like. So let's tackle a few of these questions and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. Just a couple of questions from Jim. He was asking about basically electronic versions of the practice analysis and revenue report, and we do have electronic versions of those. Yeah, I don't like using paper either. He says anything but paper. He's asking about, is there a network of insurance coverage we could join through ABS? So we actually are in talks with a company that's going to be offering errors and omissions insurance and other type of insurance for our owners. So if that's what you're asking about, yes, that's coming very soon. Shirley is asking, what's the price? $28,990. That's it.
All right, folks, give us a call here, 866-565-8413. Adam, thank you for taking your time this afternoon and joining me this afternoon.
Yeah, no, thanks, Eric. It was fun. We'll see.
Absolutely.
We'll see everybody next week, hopefully.
All right. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.